This is Backroads of Illinois server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. This is Backroads of Illinois server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. We're glad you're here. I am Cesar Delgado on Backroads of Illinois for today. Our friend of the show is Terry Jonhston from Farm Rescue in Iowa. Terry, how are you in Iowa? The World Supply and Demand Report was bearish on Monday, but there is some concerns about the number and bearish to the grains markets. We were talking to Tyler Schau from agmarkets.net. Tyler will talk about the report from last week today. This is Backroads of Illinois server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. Our friend of the show is Terry Jonhston from Farm Rescue in Iowa. Terry, how are you in Iowa? And it was good to see you in Kansas City from NAF convention.
Yeah, hey Caesar. I'm doing well. We're in the middle of a bit of a cold snap at the moment, but we had such a great summer and fall. It's really hard to complain about a little bit of cold weather now, I guess. But yeah, it was fun to see everybody at Trade Talk in Kansas City. This was only my second year there, but it's always fun to see people in person and get to talk about what we're all passionate about, especially agriculture.
Good to hear that. How was the farm progress?
Farm Progress Show was amazing for Farm Rescue. Farm Progress has partnered with Farm Rescue to help us amplify our message to find more families and do some fundraising. And so they have taken us under their wing and they provided a free booth for us at Farm Progress Show and Husker Harvest Days. And then they also promoted the fact that we were there both before and during the show. And Caesar, it was amazing. We got to talk to a lot of people, way more people than we normally would get to visit with. Um, we had some great fundraisers going on with Big Iron, Sullivan Auctioneers, and several others. We were taking donations and in exchange for a really cool custom bush light hat. And so Titan Goodyear did a fundraiser in their booth. So we were able to really get a lot of traction. We actually did talk to several families at Farm Progress Show that were interested in having help with harvest. That's of course why we're there. So that went really well. So we ended up helping some families last fall in Illinois as a result. So very grateful for the Farm Progress Show. It was really good this year, and the weather was perfect.
That's awesome, Terry. What's news about the farm machinery show in Louisville in February?
Yeah, so we're excited about that. We've not been to the National Farm Machinery Show before. Um, as you probably recall, we took on the state of Kentucky this last year as a new state to add services in. Um, 2 years ago, of course, it was Illinois. I think that was 2023. Wright Implement, who is a John Deere dealer group in Kentucky, has invited us to join us in their booth. And so and I know there's folks there from all over, which we're very excited about. Obviously, we want to reach farm and ranch families in Kentucky, but there's also people that come there from all over the Midwest. And so we're very excited about being able to tell people about our mission, help them understand what Farm Rescue can do for them, how we can help people, when they're going through a crisis. And so we're very excited to be at the Farm Machinery Show for the first time, and hopefully there's a good crowd and we get a chance to tell a lot of people about Farm Rescue.
Keep good work.
Say that again, Caesar.
Terry, let's start with our conversation about the harvest season for the fall within the dry weather. Can you tell us about that?
I can. You know what? It was both good and bad. Having drier weather at harvest, of course, helps things go faster, go quicker. Harvest is smoother, um, but it also makes it more hectic. And so um, we had a real challenge this fall because almost all of our cases came at once, especially here in the Corn Belt. It was a little different in the Northern Plains. They were a little more spread out. Um, but I think there was a time Ben Smith, our um, operations manager for the Corn Belt states, so Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska. So kind of what happened, excuse me, with the ideal harvest conditions, they kind of all came at once. So there was a time I think we had 5 cases going on at the same time. So a bit of a logistical challenge, making sure that we, get the volunteers in the right place and the equipment lined up. And of course, we don't want to delay the family's harvest at all. We would like to get their crop out as soon as possible. So it was a mixed blessing. It made for excellent, harvest conditions, but also made it kind of hectic in that we had a lot of people to help in a short period of time. But it also meant we were done fairly early. I mean, I think here in the Corn Belt states by the end of October, we had helped all the families for the season. It was really interesting fall.
I mean, keep it up. Good work. What was the yield trends during the harvest mission, Terry?
Well, that can vary, Caesar. But most of the people that we worked with, talked to, and then just knowing the farms and farmers around me here, the yields were pretty good. I mean, we started out too wet in the growing season, and then we ended up very dry, but the yields were there. I mean, it's pretty incredible. We were blessed to have good yields.
What are you watching about this planting season with your colleagues?
Well, we're doing what we normally do, Caesar, this winter season as farmers gather for meetings and conferences, trade shows. Um, we're making sure that we get as much visibility as possible so that we can spread the word about Farm Rescue. As you mentioned, we were at the Farm Progress Show, but we've got we got several events coming up here. We were actually at the commodity conference, one of our volunteers last week in Kentucky, and we've got the National Farm Machinery Show coming up, and Commodity Classic. And we're actually having a couple of fundraisers. One is going to be in person in Des Moines on March 7th. If anybody has interest in attending that or making a donation, please go to our website. It's farmrescue.org. And there's a great one online right now. Caesar going on a fundraiser helps us get ready for planting. Obviously, what we do is quite expensive. And we don't want to charge the families, obviously, for what we do for them. Our labor and if we use our equipment is at no cost to them. So we are doing some fundraisers. So if people want to check out Giving Hearts Day, that's now through February 12th. Um, we're hoping to raise just over $1 million to help offset our operational cost for next year. And so, if anybody wants to check out Giving Hearts Day and make a donation to Farm Rescue, or you can go to our website and do it. Again, it's farmrescue.org. Also, it's a great place to refer a family or apply for help coming up for this planting season. We're already taking applications, so I would encourage people to reach out to Farm Rescue. My email is terry@farmrescue.org. So we would love to hear from anybody that would like to help with getting us ready for planting next spring, and that includes volunteers. That's another thing folks can do if you're qualified and you want to help. this coming planting season, you can go to our website as well. There's a volunteer section there. So, yeah, we've got a very busy winter ahead of us. We're really looking forward to the opportunities to talk to folks at all these upcoming farm shows and conferences.
Is there a banner about the farm rescue if farmers can't make it for these events or coming up?
Yeah. So check out our website. Also, follow us on social media. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We've got some great videos on YouTube about the families that we've helped in the past. So, absolutely, if folks can't come see us at one of these events, they can certainly follow us on social media. Check out our website. We would really appreciate that. And if folks can share the information that they see on our Facebook page, for example, that's very helpful to us. We don't have a large marketing team or a marketing budget, and the way to help more families is to get the word out. So we really appreciate people following us on social media and visiting our website and help sharing that with others. That's very appreciated.
Of course.
Well,
What is your final thoughts about the fundamentals of the benefits of farm rescue?
Well, I'll tell you, Caesar, this last year was our 20th anniversary, and we've been blessed to now help 12,000, or sorry, 1,252 families. And, going forward, God willing, we're here another 20 years. So we want to stay focused on finding more families to help. And it's what gets us out of bed every morning. We all love to do this. Our volunteers are amazing. We've got 300 or 400 of the most awesome people who are willing to give up their time to come help these families, whether it's planting, harvesting, haying, feeding livestock, whatever we can do for these families when they're going through a bad time. So we're blessed with that, and we're looking forward to 2026. Um, we uh, we don't like to say we're excited about helping people because that could come out wrong. But we want to be here when people need us, and so we can't stress that enough. Especially if you know somebody in your community that could use Farm Rescue's help, please reach out. Go to farmrescue.org and pass their information along. We'll reach out, see if we can help those folks.
Thanks. Terry, I enjoyed this afternoon.
Well, me too, Caesar. Thank you so much for having us on and helping us spread the word about Farm Rescue's mission.
This is
well,
Terry Jonhston from Farm Rescue for today on Back Roads of Illinois.
hmm.
Our friend of the show is Terry Jonhston from Farm Rescue in Iowa. Terry, how are you in Iowa? And it was good to see you in Kansas City from NAF convention.
Yeah, hey Caesar. I'm doing well. We're in the middle of a bit of a cold snap at the moment, but we had such a great summer and fall. It's really hard to complain about a little bit of cold weather now, I guess. But yeah, it was fun to see everybody at Trade Talk in Kansas City. This was only my second year there, but it's always fun to see people in person and get to talk about what we're all passionate about, especially agriculture.
Good to hear that. How was the farm progress?
Farm Progress Show was amazing for Farm Rescue. Farm Progress has partnered with Farm Rescue to help us amplify our message to find more families and do some fundraising. And so they have taken us under their wing, and they provided a free booth for us at Farm Progress Show and Husker Harvest Days. And then they also promoted the fact that we were there, before. Volunteers are amazing. We've got 300 or 400 of the most awesome people who are willing to give up their time to come help these families, whether it's planting, harvesting, haying, feeding livestock, whatever we can do for these families when they're going through a bad time. So we're blessed with that, and we're looking forward to 2026. Um, we we don't like to say we're excited about helping people because that could come out wrong. But we want to be here when people need us, and so we can't stress that enough. Especially if you know somebody in your community that could use Farm Rescue's help, please reach out. Go to farmrescue.org and pass their information along. We'll reach out, see if we can help those folks.
Thanks. Terry, I enjoyed this afternoon.
Well, me too, Caesar. Thank you so much for having us on and helping us spread the word about Farm Rescue's mission.
This is Terry Jonhston from Farm Rescue for today on Back Roads of Illinois.
Hmm.
The report was bearish on last week. What does the trick is playing out for the yields to your bottom line? We will be talking about it with Tyler Schau from agmarkets.net. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing good, Caesar. A little chilly up here, getting a little snow, but I guess we got heat and warm clothes and a nice house, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Tyler, let's take a moment to review of your thoughts on the corn yield on the report. What is your position on the corn markets with these yields?
The yield that the USDA gave us was a little caught a lot of people off guard. That we raised the yield a half a bushel per acre. A lot of people were thinking it was going to come in a couple bushels per acre lower. That was kind of our estimate, and our thoughts came from a variety of inputs. One of which is some of the seed corn companies in Iowa and Illinois, strong presence in the Midwest, were telling us that that's like their yield models were much lower based on their data from their field plots or test plots. Also, some just anecdotal evidence, talking to farmers, talking to crop insurance agents with large books of claims in western Iowa and central and southern Iowa. And the old adage is the western states don't really matter when it comes to yield. It's really to Iowa and Illinois. So it is a little, you have to step back and think about it a little bit extra when you see that, because that uh, it it just doesn't jive with what we're told in the past, that you need strong yields in Iowa and Illinois, and the Western Corn Belt doesn't matter as much. Now, what we found, or what we've discussed a lot, is the poor yields in Western states don't pull it down enough. But when you add in a lot of fringe acres, and they have really, really good yields, like we did in Western North Dakota, South Dakota, Western Nebraska, Kansas, that actually does increase the amount of corn that's out there. So when they do the math, there's just a lot of production. Now, who knows if it's right? No one will ever know. I mean, that doesn't matter if we think the USDA nailed it. We still never know if we're on the, where we're at. It's a really hard number to try to forecast or discover. And so the result of it is we got to trade what the market gives us. And to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised that we've only dropped 25 cents since that report, with that big of production. That just tells you demand is strong. That's a good thing. As we move forward, if we see any disruption in supply, there's starting to be a little bit of drought developing in South America. If we have any weather problems or concerns early in the growing season for 2026, you might see a little bit of premium pump back into this market.
Do you think that we have a lot of corn in demand for right now with these prices?
Yeah, corn demand is strong. Ethanol is running well above pace. Exports are above pace analysis needed to meet the export target. We've got a lot of corn that's being purchased, and that's because we're at these low levels of pricing. And look no further than the cattle market, where we're feeding these cattle to 1,600 pound fats and harvesting 900 some pound carcass. Dressed weight's 875 now. That's historically high, and that's all because of cheap feed.
How is the reflection on the fundamentals on the corn markets for right now?
Well, the fundamentals are just we have a lot of corn to chew through. Um, that's if you think about it, this crop, given the numbers USDA gave us, that's 1.7 billion bushels more than any other crop in history harvested in 1 year. So it's a lot of corn to chew through. Like I said, demand is good, but we need we need a weather issue to develop somewhere if producers want to see that spike in prices. Just no one wants it in their own backyard. So, from a fundamental perspective, I would argue it's not a good look right at the moment, just because we do have so much corn to try to grind through as we make our way into the new crop. It'll be interesting to see, how the market reacts to any weather scares, whether that be in the northern or southern hemisphere as we move forward.
What is your position to be fundamentals with the beans markets versus to the corn markets?
Fundamentals for beans are kind of in the same boat. We raised the carryout, 60 million bushels. We were guessing a 290, and the December report went to 350. The bulk of that was on the back of lower exports. We're just not pushing enough soybeans out through the export market. The lack of China business, although it does appear they have reached their 12 million metric ton commitment that they spoke about with the Trump trade agreements earlier this fall. It's still just not enough compared to where we need to be. You got to remember, our main export window for soybeans is going to be in that November, December, January timeframe. So the fact that we're well behind right now, where we have been the last few years, is not a good look, especially when you take into account, looks like Brazil is going to harvest a big crop of beans, and they're going to move into the leader in the export market over the next few months as their crop comes off the field. So fundamentals, there's just not a lot to talk about, nothing new. There again, same thing. The fact that beans have hung in there as well as they have since that WASDE report a week ago have been a blessing to us as we move forward.
Do you have any concerns that they are going to be rising up for the future?
Well, so the supply side of the WASDE report is we will not make any more adjustments to that as we move through the year. The only thing that can get adjusted here on out, those acre numbers, those yield numbers, they will not move in the future WASDE reports. The only thing that will change is the demand side. So how much do we send out in exports? How much do we use for ethanol? How much goes to crush? All that kind of stuff. So, no, I don't have any concerns of the crop size growing. What I have concerns of is maybe we don't use as much in some of the demand centers, and all of a sudden we go from a 2.2 billion carryout to a 2.5, and that's not friendly to prices.
Of course. How about the beans? Do you have any thoughts about the beans yields?
No, I mean they didn't change it much. They upped it. I think they stayed about the same. They increased some acres harvested, so it wasn't really much of a change there. And my opinion's the same there. it's the bigger concern is not American production for me. It's South American production. I think that's the uh, the target we need to be watching and paying the most attention to because they produce a lot of beans in South America, most of which go to the export market. And our bean market has been too reliant on the export market for too long. And our number one buyer historically is China. We've done a pretty good job of ticking them off over the last few years. So the result of that is, we've lost our best buyer and we had all of our eggs in that basket. I think that's a bigger problem than what the yield is or isn't.
What is your thoughts on the balance sheet for this spring on the beans crop?
Well, as we move forward, if you're going to grow beans, I'm not really aware of a spot in the country right now where they make money. I think what a lot of producers are going to be looking at is where can I lose the least right now, and I'm torn there. I felt pretty confident ahead of the report we were going to see a lot of corn acres, a reduction of bean acres. With the drop in the board, it becomes a little trickier, fuzzier to try to decipher. But as far as the balance sheet goes, that wasn't what farmers needed if they were looking to make marketings after the report. And it just highlights the importance of making decisions prior to reports and not making your marketing plan dependent on getting a bullish report. That's not something we can control as a marketer, as a producer, as a seller. But we could have made decisions that put us into position to at least protect ourselves from what we saw last Monday.
What is the fundamentals on the cattle markets with these prices above 350?
Yeah, the fundamentals are same story. Nothing's changed. Still got a tight supply of cattle. It's hard to find them, and a lot of people chasing them. A lot of the price premium right now, in our opinion, on feeder cattle is really has to do with just an abundance of feed really across the entire Midwest, whether that's grain in the bin, pastures, hay, you name it. We have a lot of feed that producers are staring at, and they need to figure out what to do with it. A lot of it has got to go through cattle, so they're going to go ahead and chase them to where they're comfortable. I remind everyone, I work with a lot of backgrounders that keep telling me, it doesn't work. I can't buy them and protect them and lock in a profit. And I'm like, well, that's the point of the market right now. There's not enough of them, so they're making sure the people that really want them and are willing to take on the risk, they get them. People that don't want them or aren't willing to take on the risk, you're not going to get a crack at them.
How about the lean hogs market today, Tyler?
Lean hogs, again, I don't pay a lot of attention to lean hogs. There's not a lot of hogs in North Dakota, but we've rallied very strongly since Thanksgiving, kind of followed that same movement on cattle. They sold off, hogs sold off really hard October into November, and then kind of turned around there mid to late November, and we've had a really strong rally. We're kind of challenging some of those recent highs that we put in that September run. So I think if you're a hog producer and you need to be laying into some protection, now's a good time.
Do you have any final thoughts on the balance sheet for this spring?
No, I just reiterate what I kind of made before, or a comment I made before. If your marketing plan is dependent on a USDA report, I wouldn't call it a marketing plan. It's a wishful plan, and that's not a real good way to operate your business. The what a person needs to be doing is looking at your cost of production, knowing where you can and can't make money, where you need cash flow, making that plan based on those types of decisions, and then executing when it comes time and we hit those price targets. Pull the trigger and get it done. Don't hope for 5 more cents or a dime and miss out on 20 or 30 because we didn't hit because we pulled our target or our offer.
Bright right like estate planning on the grains.
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh,
Thanks, Tyler. Let's go the Bears.
Yeah, they were close.
and
I'm sorry to the Packers.
Yep.
Thanks again.
You bet. Take care, man.
This is Tyler Schau from agmarkets.net on back roads of Illinois. I'm Cesar Delgado. You have a good day.